is gone. Right, do I have that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then Nate has been there. And Kim, thank you. You came back. We didn't scare you away after one day. So thank you for coming back.
Thank you, Will.
And
checking the roster
order.
box. I like that.
Yes, absolutely, and we love it. Well, the Panthers and Chargers pulling off a swap of offensive linemen. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reporting the Chargers tentatively agreeing to trade Russell Okung to Carolina for guard Trey Turner. Now, with the move, the Panthers shed Turner's contract, Turner making $12.8 million in 2020, then $15.39 million in 2021. Okung playing just 6 games for L.A. last season due to injury. The trade, though, cannot be made official until the league year begins on March 18th. Corner A.J. Boye now calling Denver home after being traded from Jacksonville. Will quarterback Nick Foles be following Boye out the door? Well, NFL Network's Mike Garafolo reporting the Jaguars have fielded calls from other teams looking to trade for Foles, but the Jags aren't actively shopping the QB. Mike G did go on to add, though, if a team offers the right compensation package, Foles could be dealt. And this leads us to another signal caller facing an uncertain future. Ryan Tannehill telling Sirius XM NFL Radio he'd like to be back with the Titans. Tannehill mentioning the collective bargaining agreement and the back-and-forth conversations, calling the next 2 weeks, quote, exciting. And then there's the 49ers, who continue to be mentioned as a real landing spot for Tom Brady, although General Manager John Lynch has said Jimmy Garoppolo is his guy moving forward. Tight end George Kittle echoing the sentiment on Instagram, posting, quote, let's run it back 10. And Jimmy G, obviously loved by his teammates. He's loved by our Kyle Brandt. And let us keep in mind that Lynch has said moving forward, we want to go with Garoppolo, but this has not stopped the chatter whatsoever.
Thank you so much, Will. Good stuff from Will Selva. We'll hear from him a little bit later. It is time now for Would You Rather.
Oh, let's go.
All right.
Cat and the dog.
Draft season. So let's play out a scenario right now. You guys ready? I know you're ready. Kyle is beyond ready.
Always ready.
The Bengals take Joe Burrow #1 overall in our scenario, and the Redskins select Chase Young second. If you were the Lions, would you rather draft the best player available or trade down? Nate?
Draft the best player available. Don't overthink it. You try to trade down, and then you're going to have to negotiate to get exactly what you want. There's some absolute dogs within this draft. Derek Brown will still be there, so you can grab him. He's a beast. We heard him talk over the last week or so. Isaiah Simmons is a guy that I feel like is going to make an immediate impact. And if you're looking at the Lions, they were 29th in sacks. Like, let's be real. If we're trying to make something happen, and I say where because that's one of my former teams, one of them, I play for everybody. But listen, if you want to get after the quarterbacks within the NFC North, you can't be 29th in sacks and still try to make some waves within that division. So for me, go ahead and get the best player available. Trying to trade out of it, and Kyle, I know you love trading picks because they're as good as gold.
What about if the best player avalable's last name rhymes with Vanga Toilola?
Ooh.
What if he's the best player available and you're sitting there at 3 and you have a very expensive, very good, but not necessarily a successful quarterback and you have for years? Would you still take the best player available? What if that guy's in Honolulu?
Yeah, because I heard Matt Patricia talk over the last week.
They shut down.
I don't know where the reports came from. I love Matt Stafford. He's the reason why I signed here. He is going to be our quarterback. If he wasn't so, matter of fact about it, then I would say yes. Go ahead and get Tua because of the dollar sign hanging over Matt Stafford's head. But I feel like they need to shore up defense. Give Matt Stafford one more run. With the amount of money that he's making, give him one more run to try to make something happen.
What did Dave Gettleman say about the Giants? Open for business? The Lions are wide open for business. If it goes Burrow and Chase, give me all you got. Because if they don't want Tua, there's 4 or 5 other teams will not only pay for him, that will probably play irresponsibly trying to outbid the other team. Yeah. I like those guys you mentioned. I love Simmons, a bunch of them. But if I love 2 first-round picks more, 2 first and a second, someone is going to do something irresponsible for Tua. I really do think that they're going to overpay, and that should all go to Detroit. They could get a player that sets up their defense really well, or they could get 3 picks that set them up for the next half decade. I would trade out of it, unless they take Tua.
Don't forget Jeff Okudah.
Yeah,
You
sure. Okuda's good.
You put him at the cornerback for the next 10 years, you
Yeah.
might be set with a shutdown guy there.
Yeah, you're
There
right
he
about
is.
that. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Darius Slay, who was their shutdown corner for a long time. A lot of trade rumors surrounding the big, high-priced cornerback. And Kyle, to your point, we've said this on the show before. Draft day gets crazy because you're never supposed to go grocery shopping while you're hungry. And on draft day, teams get really, really hungry and will pay whatever for whatever they want.
Makes no sense to me. I just eat off the shelves.
I know you know.
What else we got?
Why can I see that? Why can I see that
Right
so
off the
vividly?
shelf.
Fingerprints on the grapes.
Next up here in New York, we've got 2 teams with young quarterbacks. We know that. And star running backs. We know that, too. So for the 2020 season, would you rather have Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley or Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell, Kyle?
Wow. Well, only 81% said the Giants. I have a very sobering statistic.
Okay. Give me that.
Le'Veon Bell last year, he had 245 carries. 245. He did not have a 20-yard run. This is the longest run that Le'Veon Bell had last year, and it is in a 33-0 blowout loss to the Patriots. I know the line wasn't the greatest thing ever, but that is alarming. The only running back who's ever done it in history of that many carries without so much as a 20-yard run was a Hall of Famer, Edgerrin James, on the Cardinals at the end of it. That is very alarming to me. Guys, if we're going to do this thing with Le'Veon and Donald, we got to have something bigger than that. Never mind an 80-yard run. We got to have 40. We got to have 20-yard run is nothing. Mitch Trubisky had a 20-yard run last year, so I am proclaiming it this year for the Jets. It is 20 in 2020 for Le'Veon Bell. That is the campaign poster. There it is, a man you can trust. That is my platform. I'm running on a platform of at least one 20-yard run in 2020. Le'Veon, you got to give us that, because I know Saquon could do it in his sleep.
I hear you on that, man.
Come on now.
Hamilton, am I correct in that Le'Veon didn't have a 100-yard rushing game?
Come on now,
either?
Hamilton. Get over here.
I believe that also is the number. Yes, Hammer going crazy.
Seriously
right
binging.
It's like that.
Go,
cat,
Hammer.
That cat on the computer.
Hammer. But that's
That is
almighty.
true. I also think he was 9th in the league in touches. So the opportunities were there.
The opportunities were there, but I mean, listen, Sam Darnold had mono, receivers were going down, the offensive line wasn't strong. I do feel like there's going to be a better season ahead for Le'Veon, but I answer just like the fans answered. I'm going with the younger duo, Daniel Jones and Saquon. When you have Saquon, I'll go with you 10 times out of 10. He was so good last year, and he didn't even start with Daniel Jones, and his receivers weren't healthy at the beginning of the season. What's going to happen now with the new coach, hard-nosed Mr. Clean Slate, Joe Judge? This is going to be the duo that could be great for the next decade.
What do you think, Kim?
Well, I think both teams have to fix their offensive lines. We are going to see Joe Douglas at work, really for the first time extensively, because he was hired long after last year's draft. So we're going to see him rebuild an offensive line for the Jets, and we're going to see Dave Gettleman really at take 3 of rebuilding the offensive line since he's been there, because the first 2 incarnations didn't work. Offensive line for both teams. I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but for Saquon to be Saquon truly, and for Le'Veon to have any chance of getting back to a guy averaging more than 3.2 yards per carry, which he did, they got to have a better O-line.
You're right. And Hammer confirms his best game was 87 yards last year.
87 yards.
87 yards. Le'Veon, Mr. I can do it all.
Got to do it all, my friend.
You got to do it all.
Nate